Hello, hello. I'm First Warn 5, Meteorologist Mike Nicco. Thanks for stopping by and checking out your forecast. We've got the newest details on what is going to be a great afternoon. It's even a little bit warmer than we thought by a couple of degrees. And then we're going to need to grab the wet weather gear, put away the sunglasses. Sunshine's going to be at a premium. We're not going to have a lot. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's when our next best chance of rain's rolling in. And then after that, yeah, we've got a good chance of seeing a really nice weekend coming our way. All right, so what we're going to do here is take a look at the weather graphics once I get them properly loaded. I didn't get them loaded correctly, so I apologize for that. So let's work on that real quick. And what you're going to see is that we've got a chance for thunderstorms, both of those Thursday. And that's probably when we're going to have the heaviest of the rain start to move through. The commute, yeah, we're definitely looking at some issues there. Especially, I would say more so for Thursday evening and Friday morning. That's really when the heaviest of the rain is going to start to roll in. Any severe weather? Not likely unless you're a little bit farther down to the south. Especially around the Ozarks and farther down towards Interstate 44. That's where we would have the best chance of anything being stronger down there. So that's kind of something we're going to keep an eye on too. All right, so got the graphics. Let's see if we got them loaded there. Max 3. Almost. Come on, you can do this. I know you can. There we go. All right, here we go. And kind of just a quick overview of what we were talking about. Showers, scattered showers, some rumbles of thunder. They are really starting to roll in as we head towards, we're looking at Wednesday night into Thursday morning, but they'll be out of here by the time we get to the morning commute. So there's some good news there. There will be some wet streets around, so that's something we'll definitely keep an eye on for you. Warren will be in here to let you know exactly what's going on. All right, let's move forward and take a look at Thursday. With the storm system coming in Wednesday, we're looking at the possibility of some drier air for most of Thursday. The rain will build back in, as we talked about, Thursday evening through Friday morning, and then we'll have some rain that's going to be a little steadier for most of the day Friday before it tapers during the evening hours. All right, something just happened right there. Well, let's take a look at the current conditions. It is 65 degrees. I mean, isn't that absolutely fantastic? And it's even warmer down to our south, and all of us are a little bit warmer than yesterday. Let's take a look at those temperatures. How about the 70s returning as far north as Ottawa, Paola, Harrisonville, Warrensburg, and Sedalia. Man, what a great afternoon. And still up around Bethany, Maryville, where it's near 58 to 60. Still nice. Plenty of sunshine for everybody. As we head through the rest of the afternoon into the early evening hours, we're looking at mid-60s through 4 o'clock. Sun sets at 5:01 tonight. Thursday's our last sunset at 5 or later for a long time. Yeah, we're going to dip into the 4 o'clock hour for sunset soon. And that is why the temperatures drop off so dramatically from 4 to 5 o'clock, and then from 6 to 7, we keep dropping down into the mid-50s. So not quite as warm as last night, but pretty cold. So here's what to expect. Wednesday, clouds and cooler. The strongest storm is moving in Thursday and Friday. That's why we have the first one. It's going to be the most impactful with the rain and rumbles. And then this weekend, it's going to be dry and seasonally cool to, if not nicer, as we head into the Chiefs game. We're looking at temperatures that may be nearing 60. I'll get to that full forecast coming up. Here's the rest of your evening forecast. If you're heading out, yeah, you want to grab a jacket the later you're out. We're down into the 40s by 10 o'clock. So Wednesday at a glance, cooler in the morning for sure. Fog may be patchy, not nearly as widespread if you saw it this morning. 40 degrees, so we're going to be a good 10 degrees cooler than this morning. Afternoon, 61, I think that's a little optimistic. I imagine most of us, with the lack of sunshine and a light breeze out of the northeast and southeast, will probably be stuck in the upper 50s. In fact, you can see that kind of reflected in the planner. If we get to 60, it'd be right around 3 or 4 o'clock. Now that next chance of rain shows up at 7 o'clock. It's only a 50%. This storm is a small offshoot, if you will, an appetizer of the bigger storm. The bigger storm is stuck down in the mountains in the southwest, and this chunk of energy is going to escape. And you could see it coming in Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Now this is up around 8 to 10,000 feet. So this is very high based. And most of this is not going to make it to the ground until you start to see some of the darker greens and yellows pop up. And that's right around midnight to 1 o'clock. And that's when I think we have our best chance of actually seeing some of the showers reach the ground. There is a chance that we could have some lightning and thunder. So if you hear some rumbles of thunder Wednesday night, don't be surprised. You're prepared for it. You knew it was going to happen. You just sleep right through it. And then this quickly moves off. Look at this. Thursday morning, we wake up and we're cloudy, okay? But I don't see any rain. The only moisture is going to be what's left on the ground. Now, this has a significant effect. With that system pulling through Thursday morning, it kind of holds the other system off. It puts it in a holding pattern out to our west for the better part of the day. So let's kind of talk about that, because we still have that first one for Thursday and for Friday, and that is going to continue as we head deeper into the forecast for widespread rain, heavier times, and there's going to be the possibility of some thunderstorms. Again, the severe weather, I think, will be around the Interstate 44 corridor. So here's kind of a look at what we're seeing now. The heaviest of the storms Thursday night into Friday morning. With the thunderstorm, you'll get some heavier rain. Okay, there's a small chance in the Ozarks, maybe, of some gusty winds and some small hail, but that would be the only thing. Models are not in 100% agreement, but they're pretty close to saying that the heaviest rain is definitely going to be Thursday night through Friday. One of them just holds on to it just a little bit longer through Friday night and into early Saturday morning. Here's the one we're going to go with, and the one we're looking at. And you can see that storm Thursday morning, 7 o'clock, moving away most of the day. Quiet north of Interstate 70. South of Interstate 70 in the afternoon, the next storm starts to roll in. It's coming in from the southwest, coming right up Interstate 44 out of Tulsa, and that's why you could see the better chances of rain down to our south. As we head into Thursday night, watch this creep north and look at the darker greens and even some yellows show up by the time we get to Friday morning. So Friday's morning commute is going to be the one most impacted by the wet weather that's going to be rolling through. Expect it to be consistent and persistent for the better part of the day Friday. Once you get past those heavier showers, we're going to have some stratiform rain. It looks like it's going to move in with some isolated showers within that, as we're now on the colder side of the storm. High temperature Thursday, low to mid 60s. High temperature Friday, low to mid 50s. So you'll definitely want to have a coat that'll keep you warmer and dry as you head through Friday. Now this model, the GFS, has us drying out Friday evening. The Euro has us still a little bit wetter Friday evening and holds the rain on through early Saturday morning, but by the time the sun comes up Saturday, that rain is off, okay? So we're still looking at a great weekend. We're just going to get off to a little slower start of the nice weather on Saturday compared to Sunday. So with this storm coming up Interstate 77, you can see the heavier rainfall amounts are going to be to the south, and they're going to diminish as you head to the north, especially north of Highway 36. You know, it runs from St. Joe over close to Kirksville. That's an area that's going to be the driest. The area that's going to be the wettest is going to be the area down to the south, from Garnett over towards Butler and over towards Osage Beach. That is definitely going to be the wettest weather. So I promised you I'd take a look at the Chiefs forecast. Sunday, look at this. We've actually warmed the temperature in the afternoon. Morning's still going to be chilly, no doubt about it. Partly cloudy, 40, not much of a wind chill the way it looks right now. You'll still need a jacket for the most part at kickoff, 53. Sunglasses, we'll have a lot of sunshine. And look at that. If you're sitting in the sunshine in the second half of the game, it's going to warm up into the upper 50s. That's going to feel pretty nice. Now, if you're in the shade, you'll probably have to keep that jacket on throughout the entire game. So I wanted to show you this. We've talked about this, and you know, I know you don't watch every day. We wish you did, because the weather does change every day. But if you haven't been, here's something I wanted to give you a heads up about. Around Thanksgiving, we're looking at a little bit of a polar plunge. Okay, we know for sure it's going to get cooler around Thanksgiving and through the weekend. One model, the GFS, has a storm coming in from the northwest. It tries to bring us some snow. The Euro has a storm coming in from the southwest. That's obviously going to be warmer, and it's going to have us in some rain. So we have some investigation, some sleuthing to do as we get closer. Could it impact Travel plans? Possibly. It is possible, and that's something that we're very aware of. We know how I think 81 million people are supposed to be traveling this Thanksgiving, so that is something that we will obviously give you a much better dialed in forecast as we get closer. Just know that there is the possibility Thursday and Friday of a system coming through. Kind of getting ahead of ourselves though, but we like to do that when we see something interesting outside of the Security Bank 7-day forecast. So here we go. Let's recap this afternoon. 65 degrees. Grab all that sunshine, soak it in. Mainly cloudy Wednesday, dry during the day, a little bit cooler, upper 50s, maybe a few low 60s to our south. And then that first warning starts to kick in Thursday. Again, it looks like it could be heaviest as we head through the evening hours into the overnight hours. And there's that drop in temperature I talked about from 63 to 53. It's going to be a little breezy on Wednesday also. Saturday's probably going to be a little breezy also. So that 37 and 56, that looks really nice for this time of year. The average low by Saturday is 52, so we're a little bit warmer than average. And the average low by Saturday is freezing, and we're still a little bit above that. Sunday, lighter wind kicking in out of the south a little bit. That's going to warm us up to about 59. And Monday, we've got a 30% chance right now. I was just looking at some of the latest data. It just came in. We have runs that initiate around lunchtime and they finish about an hour later. So I was just looking at that. That rain chance on Monday, nobody wants to go back to work or school under soggy conditions. Only 30% chance. But the good news, it looks like it may be popping more towards Tuesday than on Monday. And that's not the other storm I was talking about that's going to come in possibly Wednesday and Thursday. That's something else we'll have to keep an eye on. So appreciate you stopping by. That's our Security Bank 7-day forecast for now. Melissa, Luke, and I are back in the weather office crunching this new data, and we'll have a new forecast for you coming up at 3:30 on the television. And I'll take a deeper dive into what's going to happen around Thanksgiving with that colder air and the possibility of snow or rain coming up on our weather show. And you can tune in at 6:30 for that. Sure hope to see you then. Until then, have a great afternoon.